This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, with a beautiful Toronto celebration behind me because it's been extremely stalled, but I eventually want to live in Toronto. And I did get to go there a couple times this year. I did a convention with my friend Lisa Langlois at Frightmare in the Falls, which I'm hoping we can get her guest at some point. But you know what, folks? I didn't do much for Christmas. Went to my mom's for Christmas dinner. Otherwise, my cat was extremely contagious and me sleeping most of the day because I work back shift. And
Oh,
working back shift means you sleep while everybody else is rushing around. So when you hear things go bump in the night, it's probably me cleaning. What can I say? Anyway, folks, I get my Christmas gift the day after Christmas because Boxing Day has a new meaning to me now because I get to talk to one of the most beautiful, gorgeous, stunning women I've ever seen in my life. Yes,
Mhm.
folks, she was Debbie in Friday the 13th, Part 3. She made the hammock a cool thing. Folks,
You're fine.
I give you the gorgeous Tracie Savage. How you do,
Aw.
Tracy?
Hi, Greg. It's so nice to be here. I just, I don't know how many years we've been doing this on Boxing Day, but
Five.
it's wow, it's so fun, and I'm happy to see you. And Merry Christmas to you, and hope you had a nice holiday and a happy New Year coming up. It's my privilege and joy to be here with you. I'm happy to be here and say hello.
You know what? I always look forward to this, and it makes Boxing Day more special than Christmas
Uh,
for me now.
well,
And
that's a Canadian thing and an English thing. We don't do Boxing Day much. Oh, look at your t-shirt. Love it.
well,
Love
it would be
it.
better if your beautiful face was on it.
Oh, well, no, that's a pretty great t-shirt. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. What do you mean Boxing Day is a Canadian thing?
Well, we don't really do it much here in America. Like it's not known. I have British friends know Boxing Day, but no one I know does it besides British or I think Canadian people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know if I had a day off if my supervisor didn't tell me.
Oh my gosh.
That's how bad
Well,
I am.
hey, you know what? The good thing is you've got a job that pays you and keeps you busy and you can pay your rent or whatever you need. So there's definitely, there's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I lost a job earlier this year because I was gaslit, and
Oh,
that wasn't fun.
yeah.
And what's sad about it is I had perfect attendance and I did double shifts, worked holidays, and I even did an 18-hour shift when 17 people decided not to show up on a 3-day weekend because they were
Oh,
sick.
oh
You know,
my gosh.
people are always sick on 3-day weekends. Isn't that amazing?
Doesn't it? It's amazing. Well, they're kind enough to, take a day so that they're perfectly healthy when they come back 3 days later. So, I'm sure that's what it is, right?
Yeah, but I ended up losing that job, but I was lucky enough. I was doing one night out of the week cleaning at a UPS for a cleaning company, and I had that to fall back on. And boy, they
Yeah.
were happy to hear from me. So, and I haven't missed any time from that either. I
Yeah.
get that from my dad. I'm really good at showing up, but thing is, I got hired at a job in Toronto, and I know I can still I was supposed to start June 20th. Problem is, I never knew anything about. I knew there was, of course, credit people trying to scam you out of credit card money. I never knew anything about apartment scams until I tried to move to Toronto.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I never
Yeah.
fell for it, but I'm trying to make a move to Toronto because I went there for Frightmare in the Falls, and it was a third con I did with Lisa Langlois. And then I went there again for a few days at Christmas and connected with Lisa and went. She likes to show me a lot of I love the theater scene there.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
We went to a VIP theater. We saw Poor Things. I'm a big Emma Stone fan. I
Oh
wanted to
my
win her.
gosh, I saw Poor Things too. Was that not the most incredible movie? And the sets were spectacular, and the wardrobe was spectacular, and the script was unlike anything I think I've ever seen. I was saying it's this year's Everything Everywhere All at
All at
Once.
once.
Yeah, it's this year's version of that. Like it's so bizarre and so out there and so insane but spectacular. And she was just, I mean, she was just amazing in it. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I've been a fan of hers since her first movie, Superbad.
Wow,
And
yeah.
that's 2007. So it's like it's interesting watching her in every genre tackle all these roles. She's only 35, so I was like, what else is she going to do?
Yeah. She's
You
pretty
know?
spectacular. She's a great, great actress.
Yeah. So we saw Poor Things, which we
Yeah.
don't have here, and we saw Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage. And anytime you watch Nicolas Cage, it's always interesting.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And
For
then we
sure.
went to the TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival Lightbox Theater and saw
Oh,
Eileen with Thomason McKenzie and Anne
oh,
Hathaway, which
wow.
yeah. So um, we don't have subways and streetcars and shuttle buses and GO trains here. Lisa taught me all about that, and I just fell in love with Toronto, and
Fantastic.
yeah. So it it's been wonderful, and Lisa also helped me get my passports because she wants to do some cons in the States, and like she's eyeing Chiller, and I'm like, well, I'm down if she wants to do it, and I'm happy to go and assist her at her table. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
Nice, nice. Very good. Very good.
Never been to the States before, so
Well, Toronto, you can't get much better than Toronto for like just an amazing, amazing city. I
mhm,
think it's just spectacular.
yeah. But I know Nancy McLaughlin, who was in Friday the 13th, Part 6, told me, she said, if you're ever in California, you got a place to stay. She called me
Oh,
actually Christmas Eve. She actually called me. So
oh,
yeah,
that's
she,
lovely.
one of the things I find interesting with her is she called me because she did Chiller. The same weekend I was doing Frightmare with Lisa, and she wanted to know what Lisa does for the convention. And I was honored she asked me. So I said, you want to make T-shirts with your image on it? You should have photos from this, maybe some headshots. And we was bouncing all those ideas. And I don't represent anybody. Like I had people ask me, but I've heard the kind of stress Sean Clark goes through dealing with it.
Yeah, and my Stacy Lee and
Crazy.
Chris represent me, and it's a lot. It's a lot of work representing talent, and you got to be super organized, and you got to travel all over, and they do about, I want to say, like 40 shows a year. So, it's almost every weekend they're out of town, and that's a lot.
Yeah, I met Chris. I haven't met Stacy. Chris has done them in Toronto or in Niagara Falls the last couple of years, and he's the one that's got Lisa. So, but I did meet Sean at this last one because he had 7 clients there, and I've had him on here a couple times. So,
That's neat.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
I got to meet Sean, but I'm hoping to get to meet you at one of these.
well, one of these days, I don't do that many. That's the problem. I'm doing more now than I ever used to, just because my son is now in college, and it gives me more time to travel on weekends. When he was younger, I used to have to find care somebody to take care of him, and so I didn't go out of town too much. But so anyway, long story is I don't do a whole lot. Couple a year, that's about it. Um, but one of these days, hey, we always got Boxing Day.
We got Boxing Day. This makes Boxing Day extra special for me. I'm honored that you come on here Boxing Day to talk to me because I
Oh,
remember first seeing you in this movie. I got the box set here,
oh, nice.
the big box set, and of
Yeah.
course, part three. And I just remember having this huge, huge crush on you the moment I first saw you in that
Oh,
movie. How can anybody blame me, really? But yeah, I guarantee you the unborn kid in the movie that got forgotten is very upset that he's not listed in the body count.
yeah. Uh,
So, how was your Christmas?
it was very nice. Thank you. I host and I had 15 people and um and it was a very I do Christmas Eve and um we just have a lovely dinner and we all everybody brings stuff and we have a nice dinner and we do a gift exchange. Everybody brings one nice gift and then it's like a white elephant you pick and everybody kind of trades or swaps and steals and it makes for a really fun evening and then Christmas Day is pretty low key for me. I get up and, my son's almost 19 now. So, you know, Santa doesn't quite have the allure that it did when he was younger, but he'll open, he gets stuff in his stocking and socks and stuff and underwear and that kind of stuff. And then I have a few extra little gifts for him on Christmas Day. And I end up going over, I had a party to go to later on in Christmas Day. But so our big deal, my family big deal is Christmas Eve.
You know what? Christmas Eve, I've always preferred over Christmas Day. There's something
Yeah,
magical about it. I
yeah,
have, yeah, I have a countdown of about 20 movies I watch in December, and I always make it lead up to Christmas Eve.
yeah, yeah,
And due to me being in Toronto for a few days, put me behind. So when I got done my overnight shift, um, when I got home here on the morning of the 24th, I was like, man, I got 4 movies I haven't watched on my list, and I don't want to leave any of them off. So I spent the whole day because I didn't have to work the next day.
oh my gosh.
I watched Office Christmas Party, followed by Bad Santa,
Oh my
followed by
gosh.
Christmas Vacation, followed by the most Christmassy movie of all, the
Yeah,
original Black Christmas.
oh my gosh. That's crazy.
So I was like, Skittles, my cat, settle in. We're watching movies.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, that was fun. So I got all my Christmas viewing in, which
Yes.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember I was in Toronto, I think it was 2019. I called Lisa and I said, "Listen, there's a double screening at such and such a theater. I forget. I think it was the Royale." And they said, "There's double screening of White Christmas and Black Christmas. You want to go to that?"
Yeah.
She wasn't interested in White Christmas, but she was interested in Black Christmas because it was shot in Toronto.
That's cool.
Uh, so anyway, White Christmas had a turnout, but Black Christmas was packed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the White Christmas, right? It's been around for decades, so it's fun to see something different.
Oh yeah. Do you have any particular Christmas movies you like to watch?
Um, you know what? There was a movie that was just out last year called Spirited. Um,
Okay.
and it was kind of a new one. I want to say Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. And it's a musical. And it was new last year, and I haven't watched it yet this year. I think I'm going to watch it today. It was so cute and so delightful and so fresh. I've seen all the Home Alone and, all White Christmas. I've seen all of the classics a million times, but it was nice to have a new one that was really well produced and really well told and acted and, really fun, really cool.
So you didn't see It's a Wonderful Knife, huh?
Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you.
I haven't seen it either, but it's like, gee, people are getting creative.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, I got Pacific ones I like to watch as well, but nonetheless, is there anything special you got for Christmas?
Well, just my son being home from college. That's kind
Hmm.
of the best gift I could get. And and since he's getting a new phone, I'm gonna go get a new phone too. So that's my nice big Christmas gift to myself. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
I got a new phone this past year, and it find
Yeah,
anytime I get a new phone, my phone bill seems to go up. So
of course.
I need
Yeah,
to call them about that because yeah, not having that too much longer.
yeah.
But anyway, I noticed you had done a few cons this year, and one that really grabbed me. You had a picture with see, I interviewed Craig David Dowsett back in May, and I met him at Frightmare in the Falls. Of course, he was Winnie the Pooh from Winnie the Pooh
Oh
Blood and Honey.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was so yes, that was a he was there and I got to meet him and I took a picture with him as Winnie the Pooh. It was so I mean, Winnie the Pooh is a killer. How can that be? I couldn't even believe it. Like, I ended up posting a picture on Facebook. Is nothing sacred? Winnie the Pooh with his knife in his hand. Like, no, please don't have Winnie the Pooh go to the dark side. That yeah, that was pretty funny. That was pretty crazy.
I met him. I had him on here, and I had one of his victims on here. I caught on to that movie pretty early because I
Did
was like,
you?
"This is yeah." So
Yeah.
I had one of his victims on. I had him on, and I guess they're doing a sequel now. There's gonna have. I guess Tigger's gonna go wild on them.
Oh, no way. Tigger. Well, can you imagine? I mean, I can't even begin to think. Tigger is so, amped up on, Tigger's like a manic character. He's just crazy. So if he's going on on a killing spree, who knows what kind of damage he can do.
Yeah, they're gonna have Tigger and Owl in this one. Of course, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. I guess they live, of course, like any slasher film character does. They just they'll gotta live on.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but
very true.
it's weird with stuff being in the public domain right now because Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I guess they got Bambi's Revenge.
No way.
Yup,
Oh, that's just crazy. I can't.
and
It's like there's nothing sacred. Like they're just going to take all of these classic, characters from our childhood and turn them into these horrible killers.
and I met um David Howard Thornton. I've had him on here, who is Art the Clown in the Terrifier movies.
Ah,
And I didn't see this film, but apparently he played in a movie called The Mean One.
oh,
Uh, yeah, slasher version of The Grinch.
oh, you're a mean one. That's funny. Oh. So
So,
hey, I think they're turning, they're doing a TV series on Friday the 13th, and I think they're going to shoot it in Toronto. Is that true? Have you heard that?
well, if they are, I'm going to go up there and protest. I'm going to say, listen, we have to have Tracy in this in this
Well,
show.
I don't know. He is casting some of the original, like the first, like Adrian and some of the,
Hmm.
but I think he might. I don't know if he's casting people like to play themselves or to play who they were in the films. And if you died in the film, then it's kind of hard to bring you back if you were seen on camera getting, murdered. So, um, I don't know. We'll
We
see.
got to have Debbie's unborn son or
There you go.
daughter. We got to have some vengeance there. We got to do
Yes.
something where
Yes.
and he doesn't just come back for vengeance. He comes back after the screenwriter for forgetting to put him on the body count.
Yeah, that's right. That's
It
so
always
funny.
annoys me they forget that.
I know. Well, it's funny. That's probably the most frequently asked questions that I get whenever I do a con
Yeah.
is, you know, what happened? Why were you pregnant? What do you think about that? And I'm like, well, it's pretty crazy. I said I didn't even know it until I got the script that they were decided to make me pregnant. There was no backstory to it, no like interesting, like, who's the baby daddy, or I guess it probably was Danny, my boyfriend, but there was no like, it was just something they just sort of threw at. But so what I have to say about it is it was the value for having that little addition was that 40 years later we're still talking about it, like, and people like the fans of the films want to talk about it because they think it's a crazy thing, and you're right, it does up the death count. So
Yeah.
uh, it was actually pretty clever of them to go ahead and do that, because it basically gave us something to talk about all these years later.
Well, I think that Debbie should have been the final girl.
Well,
Yeah,
little
just
Greg, I think you're a little biased, honestly, but it's a little late for that. So there you go.
I think so. I think that it would have been cool. Debbie was this nice, cool demeanor. She was the only one that wasn't mean to Shelley.
That's true. I wasn't, was I?
No.
Yeah, that's funny. And Larry Zerner is literally one of my dearest friends. I adore him. He's like my big brother. We I just whenever we go to conventions, it's David Cadams, who played
I've had him on here, yeah.
yeah, he's awesome.
He played Tommy Chong.
Strong, yeah, yeah. And then Larry and I, and we three, the three of us have done a few conventions together in the recent years. We have so much fun. It's just so great. And so I'm glad I wasn't mean to either one of them in the movie, because they've turned out to be, really, really good friends of mine now to this day. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, the other females don't get out.
It's an yeah. Dana Kimmel, I guess, did a few. I haven't seen her since we made the movie. And Rachel, I think she's living in Florida, and we're trying to get her to come. But I have not seen either one of them in all these years, and I would love to see them again. I think that would be really, really fun.
What about Catherine?
Um, yeah, no, have not. Catherine, who played Rachel, I guess that was her
No,
character.
Catherine was Vera.
Oh, Vera, that's right, Vera. See, I'm so terrible.
You
Uh, yeah,
Rachel
Rachel,
was Chili.
Chili, yes, yes. Um, yeah, I don't know. My agent tries and reaches out to everybody in part three to try to get them to come, and it's just been David and Larry and I. Although we now have a new Jason, Mike DeLuna, who worked on part three and played Jason a few days. Richard Brooker was the main guy, but there
Hmm.
were a few days that he was a stunt man. Mike DeLuna was for years and years. He did stunts for years, but he was also hired and did some work on Friday the 13th, part three. So he's now showing up at conventions with us. He's part of our family now. He's the greatest, nicest man, super sweet, and a good addition to our little gathering of Friday the 13th, part three people. And so if you ever, I don't know, he lives in Vegas, and he's only been to a couple. Well, his first convention was in Chicago in November. And that's the first time I met him. And it was his first convention ever. But in 2024, we're now booked to do three conventions. See if I can remember. Houston, I think Indianapolis, and maybe Phoenix. And two of them, one's in June, one's in July, and one's in September. And Larry and David are scheduled to do that. And of course, I'll be there. And Mike DeLuna is going to do all three of them too. So that's kind of cool. It's nice. The fans love to meet meet a Jason. Like that's like the big deal when they go to these conventions. They want to meet the person who played Jason. So it's great that Mike, I guess, did it, 40 years ago and had a career as a stuntman doing other work. And somebody found him a few years ago and he was super nervous, like, what is this? What are these like didn't know what to do, like wasn't sure if he wanted to do them. Because he was busy and all of that. But he had such a great time in Chicago with Larry and David and I. And we're like, Mike, you're the part of the family. You got to come join us on these conventions. So he's now going to be coming out to them as well, which is kind of cool.
What do you mean everybody wants to meet Jason? I'd be like, I just want to meet Debbie.
Oh, yeah. That's cute. That's funny. You're a one track pony. You like you're very loyal. I will give you that, Greg.
Yeah. Actually, I've met a few of the Friday the 13th. I don't have any signatures on part 3, but parts 1 and 2, well, part 1 I've got Adrian King and I've got Ari Lehman from Frightmare in the Falls, and in part 2 I got a bunch of signatures on that.
I just
Lumry
met Ari
Taylor was on.
Lehman. I just met Ari in London. I was in London in
Mhm.
November for a convention. It was a Comic-Con and Ari was there. And I didn't really know much about him or what even because I hadn't really seen the first two movies. And he is a character and is super nice and has a ton of knowledge about the history of the movies. And it was really fun to meet him. He's got a band that's called,
Yep.
the
I
Jason.
First Jason, I filmed them at the after party at Frightmare in the Falls. Blood Opera opened for them. Blood Opera I met through Lisa. They're a band that was blessed by George Romero, who I know you've met before.
Yeah.
They get done up in these ghoulish costumes and they go out and they sing songs that are horror inspired. And I shot some footage of them on stage, and I shot some footage of Ari. They've opened for Ari before, I understand too. So Ari Lehman's table is right next to mine and Lisa's, or I should
Yeah.
say Lisa's. Nobody was there to see me, but I was there helping her at her table.
That's nice. Yeah, though. No, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, well, if Lisa had not have invited me, because we were talking about travel, because I never traveled till 2017,
Yeah.
and so I'm now 51, and it's like I never traveled until 2017. So
Yeah.
when she invited me, I was
Yeah.
nervous, but I couldn't say no.
Yeah.
So yeah, and boy, was it an eye opener in a great way for me. I enjoyed the flying. I enjoyed the being taught about the subways and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
doing the conventions. The conventions are always fun, except for
Yeah.
the fact I end up spending more money than I should, which is something I really got to start reeling in.
Yeah. Well, travel will do that. There's no question. But you know what? I would rather spend money on travel than on clothes or shoe, like clothes or shoes or purses or fancy meals at restaurants or anything else. To me, experiences, going places, seeing different parts of the country or even my own city, and traveling. I save all year long to take trips because to me, the memories that you make when you go on a vacation, go travel somewhere. And my trips are not lay by a pool, drinking Mai Tais under an umbrella. I'm seeing things. I'm like you, getting on the subway and going to different parts of the city and going to the museums and checking out the farmers markets and the flea markets and the stores and the shopping just to see. I'm not like a huge shopper, but the experience to go and experience a new city, to me is the best. If I'm going to spend my money on anything, that's what it's going to be is traveling.
Absolutely, and I fell in love with it. Haven't been to the States yet, but I do have the passport, so I'm ready. As at least it just needs to give me the call whenever the time
Nice.
comes, and I'll try to book it off from work.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
but
great.
actually, work was very encouraging of me to take my vacation for the convention because they said you work all the time.
Yeah. Did you have paid vacation coming to you?
Yeah,
That's fantastic. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, they were really really good to me. Like I said, I lost a job this year that you get workplace toxicity and clicks and this and that, and I got gaslit. The
Sorry.
best way I could look at
You know
that.
what though?
And
You just got to look forward and don't look back. And just, you know what? You got another job, you made the best out of it. And if you move to Toronto, you'd have to get work there first before you go? Is that what you're trying to do? Is the plan?
I tried, like I got a job working a job there, working at the hospital as a housekeeper. I was supposed to start June 20th, but the problem is every time I tried to find a place, because it's more expensive to live there than here.
Yeah,
And I was like, man, and I was dealing with apartment scammers, which I didn't fall for,
good.
and trying to find a place within my budget.
Yeah,
Because I'm not going to spend 2K for an apartment. I'm sorry, I can't live on that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but nonetheless, if I could find some place, and they said that if I get down there, reapply again, and so
yeah,
I think they definitely take me because I got a good recommendation. Actually, one of my supervisors that retired from the job I was gaslit from
yeah.
gave me a really good reference because she didn't think I should have been terminated at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was more than happy to stick up for somebody that always answers their phone. That's a rarity in some of these places, but
Oh, I'm
I
sure. I'm sure.
so I think I could get that job if I got moved down there. But I'm one of these people. I'm not going to jump from one branch to another unless I know the branch I'm jumping to is going to sustain me.
Well, that's smart. You're not a fool. That's very, very
Yeah.
smart. So that's good. Good for
Yeah.
you.
And
Yeah.
Skittles won't find a job.
Oh, poor kitty.
Yes. Skittles will not find a job. He's over there working on sleeping right now. Yeah. Except while I'm sleeping. Then he works on waking me up.
How many days are you working right now?
Oh, I work 6 days a week.
Do you really? And what's your schedule? What time do you go in?
I like doing overnight.
Yeah.
I usually will do about 10 to 4 or something like that in the morning
Yeah.
because it's nice and quiet.
Yeah.
People ask me how I do it, and I said, well, I stick my earbuds in and I listen to a podcast.
Nice. That's smart.
Yep. Like I'll listen to Sean Clark's Thing with Two Heads podcast. I've got other ones that I listen to. And sometimes, Nancy McLaughlin will call me because you guys are 4 hours behind me. So it'd be like midnight, and sometimes Nancy will call me because it's 8 where she is. And
Yeah.
I could work while I'm talking to her because I got the earbuds in.
Yeah.
And I find too with working back shift, a lot of people complain about it, but for me, especially on a winter day, which I don't think you Californians know about winter days very much.
Not
But
too much. No, I would say not too much.
when we got snow falling and everybody's cold and rushing out to get their coffee to wake up, I come back here, take a nice hot shower, climb into bed with Skittles, and I could hear the rustling of the wind outside, and I'm just going to sleep or watch a movie before I sleep, one or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. No, no, that's good. That's good.
So
Good to
that's my take on doing back shift, but That's usually what my schedule. Now, if they need me to, like, they had a another building where they needed me earlier in the day or early in the evening, I'll go do it because it's
Yeah,
extra money.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. So I'm pretty good with that. I was in another building before this one, but and I said I'll do both buildings. They said, yeah, but you'd be working like 13 hours a day, that's a bit much. And I'm like, well, but nonetheless,
Oh, I get it. I get it.
yeah, I'll do it. But but yeah, I do hope to get out to do more cons coming up. You know, you did a little bit of traveling this year. You did a few cons. Any experiences there that you wanna go into other than meeting Killer Winnie the Pooh?
Well, I had never traveled out of the country for a con, and so this year I did London, and then I was home, and then did Chicago the next weekend. And I've never done back-to-back conventions either. But going to London, it's a long way to travel for 2 days. But it was great. They were so kind to us and took such good care of us. But I had so much fun just being in London and kind of getting on the subway after being at the convention and going. I did book some tickets to the theater and went and saw a show. And I went on a tour Sunday night to look at Christmas decorations in the city of London. Beautiful nighttime, lights lit up all over the city. That was really awesome. Um, so that was great. That was really fun. And then came home and then went straight to Chicago, which was really fun and kind of a neat convention. I had a blast in Chicago. Got to meet a couple of the actors. Their manager, my manager is their manager, so hung out with a couple of actors from Sons of Anarchy,
We've had a
and
few of them here. Yep,
yeah, Kim Coates is one of the lead
I've met
actors,
him.
and Boone. Um, and they were both just wonderful people and super fun to get to know them. And that was hung out with them in Chicago, and that was great. And I went somewhere else. Where did I go this summer? I can't even remember where I flew to. I was somewhere a convention earlier. I think it was can't remember. I don't remember. I do, I go there just a quick weekend and I'm kind of
Uh-huh.
in and out of town, and I can't really remember where I went to. But anyway, it's all good. It's fun.
Well,
I enjoy it.
it's interesting you say that. I met Kim Coates through Lisa, because I think they have the same agent or something like that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
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 Now, does your son ever go to the conventions with you, or does he not?
It's,
Is that not
he
his
did
scene?
I brought him to one when he was younger. It's kind of boring for him, and he's not like a huge horror fan. So for him just to kind of um sit around, he hasn't. I took him to one in New Jersey probably in 2016.
Hmm.
And um, and that was he enjoyed that. It was in New Jersey, and he went to New York for the day. Oh, I know where I went. I went to I didn't leave. I did Days of the Dead in Los Angeles
Okay.
this summer in August. That was kind of fun. Anyway, yeah, I don't bring him. He's just, he's busy and got his own life. And certainly now that he's in college, he only comes home in between semesters. So, um, it's not so much fun for him to sit around while I'm there talking to the fans. So, um, probably not.
I noticed, I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, but I noticed on Wikipedia it says you've won 2 Emmys.
Well, I've won a few awards as a journalist,
Okay.
Golden Mikes, and Emmys. They're not national; they're Los Angeles area, Emmys. There's different versions of the Emmys. You can have local Emmys, and that's what my wins were for.
Mhm.
And I won some Golden Mike Awards, which are similar. It's kind of a local award. When I worked for a radio station doing news, I won some awards for that. I won a won a Golden Mike for doing a sports show, a Dodger pregame show, Los Angeles Dodger pregame show, and that was fun. So yeah, through the years when you're doing it for a long, long time, it's nice to have a couple of little honors, on your resume. It's kind of nice. I'm a college professor now. I'm full time.
Mhm.
That's where I
I
spend all my
got
time.
one award for my show. I should show this. I've never showed this on here before. At the radio station. I now do these on here, but I'm still with the station. But 2016's Critics' Choice Best Spoken Word, Python's Paradise.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That's really an honor. Good
The
for
only
you.
one I got, but it was pretty cool,
Yeah,
but I've been nominated a few times, but this was pretty cool to get. And I was
I
like,
love it.
wow,
I love
yeah.
it.
So it's something I've worked hard at. And
How many years have you been doing this?
the podcast part, since 2015.
Wow. Okay.
First guest was Tommy Wiseau from The Room, which I got through a former acquaintance of mine, and it was like, who else can I do this with? And
Awesome.
Adrian King was actually my second guest.
Good get. How many years have you, I mean, how many guests do you have a year? Like, what do you try to average each year? Like one a month or maybe six a year, like every other month
You
or?
want me to tell you? It depends on who answers, but my record was 2022. I had 170.
No way. No, I'm thinking 10 or 12 a year. 100 what? You're doing them
I
like every 2 days, 3 days.
Well, I know Tommy Kovac from Splat from the Past, I think beats me out on it. But um but I don't know what his work schedule is like compared to mine. So I always to me it's like where can I.
That's so
But
awesome.
I got 170
So
last
do you
year.
post them all up on YouTube? Yeah.
Actually, I've got Spotify now too.
Oh, great.
Yep,
It's great.
Spotify. And I'm going to start doing Rumble as well,
Yeah.
you know. But this year, uh you're number 103 this year.
That's spectacular.
Yep. And I
Yeah,
got
well, not
one.
many days. You're not going to beat last year's, I guess, because there's only a few days left unless you really get busy in the next few days.
Well, I got somebody booked for Wednesday, not Wednesday. What today? Thursday. I'm
Yeah.
so mixed up on this. On the 28th, I got somebody booked, and I might have usually it's every year. I usually have a stunt woman I know, Lisa Hoyle, comes on here, and her friend Greg Anthony, they're both stunt people, so they usually come on here. So I might
Yeah.
get 105 on here this year,
That'd be awesome. Good for
and
you.
in total I've done over 800. So
Holy. Do you have them like on the website or on YouTube all numbered and dated and like you can just you can go, wow, that's pretty cool. Good for you. Nice job.
I have them on YouTube. I'm putting stuff over to Spotify because I'm nervous about YouTube because they gave a strike against my channel and pulled an interview I did with somebody based on misinformation on health. And I was like, I listened to it and I was like, I know it had to do with the pandemic.
Okay.
And the conversation was one I've had a million times with people over the pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm from here. I worked through the whole thing. I
Yeah.
wasn't off. I didn't get the illness. I
Good for
worked
you.
through the whole thing. But I don't know what it's like in other people's part of the world. So I would ask them, "What's it like where you are with this?" You know,
Yeah.
and we'd have a conversation, and they'd tell me whether they got the shots or not. Personally, it didn't matter. They'd just bring it up. That got deemed misinformation health on one of my interviews.
Oh,
And
well.
and I heard you can only have 3 strikes on your channel, so I'm like, "You know what? I'm gonna prepare for this, and I'm gonna start moving my stuff over Spotify, and next up will be Rumble," you know? I
And
need to
does
fig
you just post the audio on these, or do you post audio and visual? Does Spotify let you have a like the visual too, or do you just do the
Oh,
audio?
you can do both.
Yeah, on Spotify?
Yep,
That's great. That's good to hear.
yep, yep. Right now I got just the audio, but I'm gonna start putting the video ones 'cause I started doing them on, uh, video in 2021, so I could definitely do that. But,
Yeah.
like, I felt bad about that, and I was like, "I don't want my channel gone because of something stupid like that." Like, I know people that go to Facebook jail over the dumbest stuff,
Well, I know.
you know? Like, the dumbest stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like whatever these bots or whatever it is like, fire them? Because, not everything somebody says is, actually a threat, or
Yeah.
meant this way or that way, but so, now I wanna try to find a way where I can make audio into video because I think that's what Rumble is, and I'm like, because none of my 2020 interviews were up on YouTube. They just never got up there, but they are gonna be up on Spotify. Your second interview was in 20 no, it wasn't in 2020, that was 2019. Okay, scrap that. I was done by March that year, so, uh,
Ah,
you were a Boxing Day girl, so but nonetheless, Spotify has been very good with that, and, I'm starting to get some traction over there. So, you know, um, so people wanna listen, I got, another avenue for that, so it's what I prefer, so, yeah. Now we need to talk a bit about Mike Guttridge. Have you been talking to Mr. Guttridge this year?
you know what? I always am in touch with Guttridge one way or another. I love him. He's like my brother also. And he um he sends me, we connect via Facebook, but then occasionally we'll text each other just to say hi. He sends me, their family Halloween card. It's classic every year. And um so yeah, I mean, if too much time goes by, then one of us will reach out to say, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? How's it going? Um, so yeah, he's a good man. He's a very good man.
He seems to have a blast with his family, takes them to
Yes,
concerts and all that.
I know. And his kids are so wonderful, and his wife is beautiful, and they're just a lovely family. That's really fun to see them all together. They're very close, and a close-knit family, a lot of great traditions that they do together. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Yeah.
And you got to eat some spaghetti courtesy of, his wife in the Bone Garden.
Well, yeah, that was for sure. That's definitely right.
That
Absolutely.
was part of your craft service,
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
and you did Loretto with him too. I saw that.
Yeah, that was a short little movie that we did. We shot it right around the street, like down the block from me practically. And that was kind of a fun little thing to do. He did a nice job with that. Um, and yeah, and I guess he's got, so he did The Bone Garden, then he did another film after that. I think it's called Wooden Floors or something.
He's
And
been working on that. I told him to get back to me for that because I said I would help him promote it. So I don't know what's going on with that. And yeah, it's called Wood Floors. I think Alexander Paul is going to be in that. I said, shame on you. It should have Tracie Savage.
Yeah, well, I've been busy, I'm teaching full time now. Speaking of busy, my son is giving me a hard time now. He wants to go get his Christmas present. I better get going in a minute or two.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I told him that we do this, it's an hour every year, and then if he's just got to wait. So, um,
Oh boy, him.
yeah,
Well, you know what? And of course, 13 Fanboy, we're both part of that. You're the reason I put 3K into that.
that's amazing. You're so generous. That is so, so nice of you to do it. And that film, she did such a great job with it. And Debbie Voorhees. And yeah, big accomplishment to get that movie produced. And it was because of the fans who all helped, and you helped a lot in a big way. So thank you so much for being a part of that. That was fantastic.
Well, you were the key for me getting involved. Of course, Lar Park Lincoln I had on just before I went to Toronto, and and
Yeah,
I've had her on before as well. And Lar is
nice.
wonderful. And
Yeah.
Jason Bradford I had on here. And he was talking about that little tiny bathroom that you guys had to get cleaned up in.
That's very true. I remember that. I totally remember that. Yeah.
Well, he told a story about you doing the scream, and
Oh,
apparently Tommy Lee Jones was doing a movie not far away, and they sent somebody over because they didn't know whether your scream was whether it was real or what. Do you
wow.
remember that?
No, didn't even know that story. That's pretty funny.
Jason Bradford shared that with me, and I'm like,
Oh,
you know, but nonetheless, yeah, I'll let you get going. I love doing this with you. I didn't even know what we were going to talk about, but it's okay. I've got guests that come on here every year, and we just talk. And this is
I love
just,
it. It's
I love it.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Well, you're
And
good at keeping a conversation going. So you're in the right business. So good for you.
well, you are a 5-time guest on here.
Yay. That's awesome.
Can we make it to 10? I'm going to
We'll, s-
try for it.
we'll
I want to
see.
have you on every Boxing Day. I look forward to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
before I let you go, of course, I'm always going to ask you for a plug for my show.
Sure. Sure. Tell me what you
Yeah.
want me to say.
Just state your name and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Okay. Here we go. Hi, everyone. I'm Tracie Savage, Debbie from Friday the 13th, part 3 in 3D. And you are listening to Greg Gilbert and Python Paradise.
And you look extra stunning today. I love your hair and the hooped earrings.
Thank you, Greg.
You look like $1 million plus some.
You're awfully nice. You're a nice man, and I appreciate it. And I always enjoy uh catching up with you and seeing what's going on with you and how things are going. And so thank you for being such a great host. And on that note, I'm gonna leave, but thank you.
God
Bye,
bless you.
everybody.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, you too, Greg. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye
Bye.
bye.